Hi everyone. Within the Happiness Lab, I had mistakenly seeking solitude. So during the podcast, they had basically talked about today's technology. And with today's technology, it's making the face-to-face interactions with people less common. You aren't doing the things that you used to do as far as going to the bank and cashing your check or getting money. You're going to an ATM instead, or like me, I use my phone to do mobile deposit for my checks. For music, you're not going to a record store and buying, the records anymore. You are simply just asking Alexa to play a song or getting on your phone and playing whatever song you feel like. You don't have to, sorry about my dog, you don't have to go around asking people for this music if it's come out yet, where you can get it. You can just simply go onto your phone and get it that way. And with the revolution of convenience, you are paying the price of not being as social. And I didn't even realize this until actually listening to the podcast, when I actually sat back and I was like, wow, you know what? Yes, we are. We're not interacting like we used to. I mean, as a kid, I remember my parents' friends coming over for a cup of coffee, and they would just stop over and, they would have a cup of coffee, ask how their day's going, what's been going on with them lately, and then they would go home. It wasn't sitting on their phones and texting and interacting that way. They actually had the face-to-face interactions. And I feel like because we're not interacting face to face, it's harder for us to connect in person. And we need the social interaction for our well-being. I mean, the more social you are, the better your well-being is. And it's proven that the more social people are, the happier they are. And the less social you are, obviously the more sad you are, the more depressed you are, the more lonely you feel. And just because it's convenient doesn't always mean it's better. Just because texting is convenient doesn't always mean it's better. I mean, you can have friends for so many years, but you're missing that connection with them if you're just talking to them and texting, hi, how are you, and just leaving it at that. If you're not ever having the face-to-face interaction, you're never going to truly connect to that person. So Eleanor Wenzel, she is married to Don Wenzel. He's actually the one who had created the ATM. And he got the idea when he was standing in line at a bank, and he's like, this is a waste of my time. I need something that's more convenient. So he thought of the ATM, and she states that she's never actually used an ATM. She says that she sees a lot of downers with technology, and that the ATM doesn't smile back at you or have pretty eyes, and that she doesn't want to lose all of that. And I feel like what Eleanor is trying to say is, if we are constantly just using the technology that we have been provided, we're going to lose all of our social skills. She is constantly talking to strangers and having conversations with strangers. She's not texting her friends and asking how they are. She's going and seeing them. She's going and actually talking to people. And I personally, I wish that I could do that. I feel like I'm not a very social person, and I wish that I could be more social. With that being said, I am a homebody. I would rather use my banking app to deposit my checks and go to the ATM instead of going to the bank. Another example is going to Walmart or Target. I don't ever go to the cashiers. I always go to self-checkout. And it's simply for the fact that I don't want that social interaction. And I know that other people are different. There are people who want that social interaction and who completely refuse to use the self-checkout. And me being an insurance agent, I have people calling me all the time. Currently, our offices are closed. We are working in the office. Our doors are just locked. due to the pandemic that's going on, just to protect everyone. Anyways, going off on a tangent here. But I have people calling all the time saying they want that face-to-face interaction. We actually had to get webcams so that people could feel like they're actually talking to us instead of just a phone call when they have questions, so they can feel like they're really getting a sense of what's going on with their policies, to be able to better understand, what we're actually talking about instead of just calling us on the phone. They actually want that connection with us. So the two concepts that I found in the book were ethnography. I think I spelled that wrong on here, my bad. Which is the study of human social interaction. So within the podcast, they actually studied introverts and extroverts, and they had them get on a bus to talk to strangers and see how they would, interact, how the strangers would interact, how the introverts, how the extroverts would interact, and if they would interact completely different. The extroverts not wanting to interact so much, and the introverts, wanting to, actually talk to these strangers. And it was actually proven that there's no difference with them. They both enjoyed that social interaction, no matter, what kind of person you are. Because I'm an extrovert, but I do like to talk to strangers if they approach me first. I'm not somebody who will just approach anyone. Concept 2 is socialization. It's how we learn to be members of a group through early interaction. This one correlates with the podcast and the happiness lab that I had, just from the study that was going on, how you learn. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. My cats are being crazy. Through the interaction with people. I mean, if you're not interacting with anybody and you're just, I feel like texting is interacting and calling is interacting, but it's not the same as if you were to go out and actually interact with somebody, say at a restaurant, or to have a day with them and go shopping. I feel like it's completely different. A few things that we could take away from this is to be more social, to talk to strangers more, to try to interact with them. Even if you just ask them, hi, how's your day? That sort of thing. If you're standing in a Starbucks line, to pay it forward and pay for their drink. And you never know whose day that is going to make. I mean, I love when people pay for my drink, and then I can pay for the person behind me, and so on and so forth. And you don't know whose day that is going to make. And just to be more social, just instead of calling somebody or texting somebody, just stop over to their house. I mean, some people might not like this, so just feel people out, but stop over to their house like people used to, and just have a cup of coffee with them. Just go for a walk with them. Just do something other than texting them and asking them how their day is, to actually have that social interaction and connection with that person. So that is all for my presentation. Thank you guys very much.